Were you able to mute everything, Kyle?
Yep.
How come we don't see all the little faces of all the people?
Well, we're gonna go like this. Stop sharing.
Somebody else is going to tell me.
That's the next presentation.
We are currently recording at this point. All right, excellent. Stop sharing. We'll make this big here. Wonderful. Wow, everyone's looking great.
You are okay.
All right, excellent. Welcome, everybody. We're actually here in Southern California, in San Diego, at Mike and Summer's home. Thank you very much for having us here. We've got a very special guest speaker we're going to have him bring on real quick. And the reason that we're here is that we have found a phenomenal product, a product line that I believe has the ability to change and revolutionize the way we look at nutrition. Not only that, and other verticals that we'll be able to tap into over time and help people get the things that they need in their body, really the raw materials that we need for our body to operate on an optimal level through our DNA. And we've got our scientist. I'm going to actually bring her on here shortly. I'm going to actually watch a short video because some of these people that are just learning about this is going to be based on the product. We're going to be focusing on the product line, the science behind it, some of the questions that some of our associates that are sharing this product with other people but probably have. So we're going to be able to address those tonight. But I believe this is a paradigm shift in the nutrition space where I ask people, if you can look into your DNA and you can find a way to look and feel and operate your best, would you want to know? I mean, everybody says yes. So at the end of the day, when I found this and heard this and took a look at the video you're about to watch, it blew my mind. It really helped shape a paradigm shift for myself because I was always just taught to go find the stuff or the doctor should know what you need. And really we call that blind nutrition because your body is not mine. My body is not yours. So why are we taking all the same supplements, right? So it just, to me, it made common sense. And the more that I'm learning about it, the more I'm learning about the science, the more I'm connecting with people that are really brilliant in this space, the doctors, the scientists, and the technology that we have put into place that really the world is ready for this. Meaning 15 years ago, people were reluctant. When they heard DNA, they thought, oh my gosh, are we on a crime scene? Is there DNA somewhere? But now we have the opportunity to learn about our bodies, know what our bodies needs, and then have a very unique aspect. We have over 80 plant-based peer-reviewed products with a combination with 18 of our what's called SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. And this technology we have has the ability to create about 400 million possibilities of a unique product tailored to you and your DNA for you to actually get the things that your body needs for it to operate on an optimal level. So that being said, I'm going to have you guys watch a very short video, and then I'm going to bring on Ms. Jen Meyer, which is a doctor, a scientist, and geneticist. We're so blessed to have her on as a guest speaker. So I'm going to bring on a video, share the screen. I'm going to watch this short video real quick.
Isn't technology great?
That it is. Let me share screen. And I'm not an Apple guy. So thanks, guys. Uh-oh.
You got to mute again.
We're going to mute some people here. There we go. And is that it? Oh, here we go.
So if you hit play and then you go to that full screen thing on the right.
Your DNA makes you unique. You have one genetic code, only one body. You don't need everybody's nutritional supplements. You can have your own. Cut your losses and move on. The days of blind nutrition are over. Your DNA knows exactly what you need, and Uforia delivers it. Welcome to your very own designer nutrition. We're all potentially susceptible to certain physical ailments based on variations in our genes passed down from our parents. These genetic variations are called SNPs, or single nucleotide polymorphisms. We aren't able to eliminate SNPs from our DNA, but we can do something about them. We can take action to optimize our physical health. It begins with a simple DNA test. Swab the inside of your cheek and mail your sample to Uforia's state-of-the-art laboratory partner for analysis. Strict HIPAA guidelines are always followed, so your information remains confidential and secure. Based on your DNA results, a one-of-a-kind nutritional formula is created just for you. This is your very own Utrition, designed from peer-reviewed plant-based ingredients plus vitamins and minerals. With so many high-quality ingredients and so many of us, every formula is truly unique. Each custom formula is one out of nearly 400 million possible combinations. And while your nutrition is being customized, you can immediately begin to make your health a habit. Every Uforia starter kit not only comes with a DNA test, it also includes a pre-trition formula. This is a mild and gentle cleanse. It also supports the body's preparation for the optimal Uforia experience. The pre-trition formula contains a robust combination of quality active ingredients, including HC11, frankincense, and astaxanthin. Pre-trition gives your body a fresh start. You'll be prepared when your customized Utrition arrives, which takes approximately 2 to 4 weeks, delivered right to your door. You'll receive a 30-day supply of your customized formula, along with a detailed action plan that explains what you need to know about your SNPs. Staying on track to meet your nutritional needs for the rest of your life has never been easier. You can receive your customized designer nutrition delivered to your door every month, all for less than the cost of buying nutritional ingredients separately. Finally, everyone's unique biology meets one-of-a-kind technology. Your DNA is talking, and Uforia gives your body a voice.
All right, stop sharing. I know where I'm at.
The top right, the top blue.
Expert level at every vertical.
Yeah, of course,
Let's do that.
This guy knows a little about network marketing. This guy knows
bear with us.
Uh-oh.
It's beautiful.
How we do this?
Sure.
You gotta go to tabs along the top.
Okay. Open this up.
Not that one.
Yeah.
That one, scroll all the way up, and then you can go to the YouTube one, and just hit X on it with the red button.
This one here? Try to get a full screen here.
Escape.
Oh, escape. Sorry, guys. All right, so while we're getting this taken care of the setup, I did want to introduce our guest speaker. We're going to be actually going through a line of questioning with her because she is the expert. Some of the things that she's been able to do and produce and create here with the team that they have. Dr. Jen, I want to make sure she gets the proper recognition that you do. Her bio is beyond impressive. One of the things that impressed with me, because my brother's an OB-gynecologist and he's a doctor of osteopathic medicine, and so is she, and that's some of the things that she's lined up with as well. But Dr. Jen specializes in nutrigenic medicine, testing individuals' SNPs based on the most important nutritional pathways to help support optimal health and wellness. She's been following her passion for nutritional effects in the genes for the last 10 years. Prior to her journey as a genetic-based practice, she worked on obstetrics and gynecology and endocrinology. Those are all big words, which I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that, but to me, it's beyond impressive. She is one of the most intelligent women that I've ever met and communicated with. But when you have a whole bunch of, 3-letter acronyms after your name, it means you're doing good things, right? She's on her way of just finishing up her PhD in medical genetics and health science. And also, my gosh, biomedicine, functional medicine, oriental medicine, and acupuncture. Also certified in genomics and nutrigenomics, clinical nutrition, and advanced DNA analysis and interpretation. So that being said, I'm very excited to have her on here. I'm going to unmute here real quick and bring on Dr. Jan Myers. Hold on one sec. Do you see here?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay. I unmuted myself. I'm like, yeah, I can do this too.
This is a better idea. Thank you so much, Jan, for being on here with us. And
No problem.
maybe you just want to kind of set the precedence and a little bit about yourself and why you stepped into this space and working with Uforia and this type of product that we're able to get to the world.
So this has been incredible. I will say that. So CEO Ron Williams is actually a patient of mine. Came into my office to see me and told me about the things that were going on with him. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do a genetic test on you. I do genetics on every single one of my patients. It's just my medicine now, which is incredible. And he said, okay, whatever, swabbed his cheek and sent him on his way. And the next day, this man calls me up and says, you'll never guess what I just got myself into. And he told me about Uforia. And at first I thought he was pulling my leg. I didn't take him very seriously because what is the coincidence of that, right? So he was very serious actually. And he said, I want you to be a part of this. I feel that this was, you initiated this. I had nothing to do with it. I just happened to swab his cheek the day before. But nonetheless, of course I was super excited because this is what I do. This is what I've been doing every single day with every patient that walks into my office. Is I'm taking their DNA, testing different types of SNPs. I don't do this per se, and it's not to say that we won't. We're speaking about a professional line, which I'm excited about. But that's what I do, and I'm looking at specific genetic SNPs that affect our nutritional pathways and being able to absorb and use these, to our advantage to keep ourselves at an optimal health level. So when he says, "Hey, I want you to be a part of this," there was no hesitation. I couldn't even think of a reason why this wouldn't be amazing. So this is and working hard for, we're learning, and still learning, of course. And it's an honor to be here, and I appreciate Kyle for asking me to come on board and speak to you guys tonight. So I have a list of questions. I'm very informal, so we'll just, we can run through these and you all are very welcome to ask me anything that you have as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just talking about maybe the pre-trition. I know that coming in and when somebody actually buys the product, right? I mean, and I'll bring on some of the stories that I've been hearing about people coming on spending $400 or $500 just in the testing. And then having up to like $600 every 6 weeks. One of the other people had like $800 on a monthly basis for the nutrition that they needed based on their DNA. But the fact that we are only, the cost is $159, and then we have even referral programs for customers where they can get four referrals and their product is free. Those types of things are amazing. So the cost effectiveness is amazing because of all the quality ingredients that are there. But what about this pre-trition that we get the first 25 to 30 days that we take prior to our Utrition being created for us?
So this is what I love, right? So Ron will gladly explain over and over again how much I cost. He tends to tell everybody I've paid so much money, but he paid for my brain too, I like to say. But the pre-trition is wonderful. So this is, I'm just going to kind of give you guys, I love to give analysis and break it down so you see what I do and why the thought process was here. The pre-trition is like when I draw somebody's labs initially and I'm looking at their vitamin deficiencies and such and say, okay, here's what we're going to start you on in the process. I do not start a big regimen of anything until I get back genetics. Pre-trition is based on vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, things to prep your body. Think of it as a prebiotic prepping for a probiotic, right? So prebiotic goes in there and sets the stage for the probiotic so it can work and do what it's supposed to do. That's what pre-trition is. So there is no testing necessary. These are all vitamins and minerals that we all need. In fact, just from clinical research and me doing this in the clinic, everything that's in there, the majority of the population is actually, believe it or not, deficient in any way. So it's very clean products. It's plant-based, it's vitamins, it's minerals, and we're just setting the stage for your body, in other words, and prepping it for your actual Utrition that you will get once your DNA SNPs are tested. And I have the list in front of me. So just to run through, there's a huge proprietary blend of different antioxidant type fruits and vegetables and things like that. But there's also vitamin A, all of your essential vitamins A, C, E. There's niacin, your B complexes are in there, your methyl B12. Of course, we want to use methylated vitamins in here, so that way, regardless, without knowing your SNPs, we actually want to make sure you get the right kind that everybody can absorb, whether they have this SNP or not. The folate, the 5-methyl-tetrahydrofolate is in there as well, biotin, zinc. It's all good stuff. And what we're just trying to do is, they call it a gentle cleanse. This isn't a colon cleanse. I always tell my patients that this is not what this is. This is on a cellular level. So we're actually trying to go in and prep the body. You're going to feel really good just from this. And it's just stuff that everybody needs on a daily basis and should take in. Of course, we know our food supply, unfortunately, is not what it should be. We are not getting the vital vitamins and minerals that we need to get. I wish I could say that, yes, you could just do food and be okay, but that's not the case. So this is just giving you a little extra punch, giving the body ready to set the stage for when you get your Utrition.
Got it. That's one of the things that we were talking about in regards to DNA and the SNPs. Maybe what are SNPs? And we know single nucleotide polymorphism. I know those are things that we inherited from our parents, but what are those things? I know, and I do have my DNA test. I just got it today. Pretty stoked and excited about that. And so maybe we can show that a bit later or whatnot. But what I'm looking at is, the things that we inherit from our parents, are they good, the bad? How does that work and what the SNPs are, and the fact that we have 18 right now. I know I think there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of SNPs. Why are we using these at this point? So maybe you can kind of tailor on that real quick.
Absolutely. They're estimating between 20 to 25,000 SNPs that we actually have. The Human Genome Project. We are able to test for over 700 with Uforia. However, we are only using 18 at the time because we are taking these heavy hitters. Like, this isn't a disease. We're looking for these patterns, and this is the same thing I do in my practice. This is biochemistry. This is the biochemistry of the body and where you were deficient or where you're weak. Unfortunately, we all have something that we are weak in, and we're taking all these vitamins thinking we're doing the right thing, but a lot of times our bodies don't absorb it right. So we're looking at these heavy hitter SNPs, things that we've inherited, yes, from our parents, Kyle, just as you said. Sometimes it's a heterozygous, or you'll see that yellow smiley face, and that means you got a copy, let's just say, from mom. The red, which says 2, and that's still a smiley face, that means you got one from mom and one from dad. And what I say in my clinic is when you see yellow, that means that we need to go in and do something. But when you see red, we need to be a little bit more aggressive. And there's a question here that we'll address about how we distinguish how much to put actually in your Utrition based off your SNPs. But we're taking these heavy hitter SNPs at this time. We have to back it with research, of course. We can't just say, oh, well, we think that this is going to work for this SNP. No, we need to look into the research and make sure that it's been looked into, that it's been studied. Does that really relevant to me in my practice? No, but I know what I mean. I'm doing this on clinical experience, but in this level, yeah, we need to have the research and the science to back it up. Absolutely. So these are heavy hitters. Are we adding more? Absolutely. I have a huge list that I want to add. I look at a minimum of 55 in my practice. So I have a very big list of things that I want to add. We meet often, us scientists, and talk about the different things. I'm a little demanding, so I do have my list of things that I want to continue to bring in, so that way we can support you guys at the best of our ability and capability too. But these are some good heavy hitters. Everything on here are ones that I tested in my office as well. So I'm impressed. This happened prior to me coming in. We did change a few, but we are looking to add quite a few more. Yes.
That's awesome. So as the company grows, as the technology continues to increase, you'll be able to add more SNPs and more ingredients that we can, tailor these nutritional supplements to each of our particular needs. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And like I said, I've formulated my list, I've sent it off, and we just have to get the ball rolling. I have a lot of things I'd like to see. I'd like to see panels. I'd like to see pediatrics. There's a lot of different things that I would like to see come out of this. And it's just going to take time. We're such in infancy with this product that it's amazing because the science has been there for the past 10 years. It's not like that's just, erupted, but the product itself and getting it out there and getting it going has, of course, we're just in the beginning phases. This thing's just going to get more and more and more amazing. It's already amazing.
That's awesome. Now, in regards to the DNA, because a lot of people bring certain subjects up in regards to your DNA. What about our DNA? Because, there's blood work, DNA, there's urine. I mean, what are the difference between those? Why would we test specifically for DNA versus blood work? And to piggyback off of that, for you to, go with that, do I really, when I take my DNA test, do I need to retake a test later down the road, or does our DNA change? Like, you can piggyback off of that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So I love doing blood work in my office, and here's why, and here's the difference. Blood work, when I'm looking, it's a snapshot. What is that person at that very moment looking like? The next day, it can change. Some of them don't vary too much, but they can change. Your DNA doesn't change. That's your blueprint. I get to see right in front of me your blueprint. This does not change. We do not recheck for the same SNPs. We can add on different SNPs, but that doesn't change. That's your deck of cards. That's what you have. We can't change that. However, the cool thing is we can actually turn these things on and off, and we kind of have this leverage to be able to make sure that the biochemistry of these enzymes, I mean, in the end, SNPs are enzymes. And I'm going to try not to get too technical. I can get super nerdy with this. And it tells the body how to function. So when we have these variants, our body goes, oh, I don't really know what to do here as well. And it depends if heterozygous versus homozygous as to how much it's telling the body, I don't know what to do here. So we're coming and saying, okay, let's look at this and let's support that on a biochemical level. So the body goes, oh, that's right. That's what I'm supposed to do. And these are all based off nutritional pathways. This is not a disease pattern. Again, I'll keep saying that because even in my own practice, I say, I know what diseases come. I'm not going to take that. Wants information, I'd rather just say, here's some weaknesses, and here's what we do to support it. We're looking at neurotransmitters and mitochondria and all these cool, inflammation and immune system. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that you're prone to breast cancer or colon cancer. That's something heavy. Do I know that? Yes, but that's not what we're doing here. We're not doing disease pattern. We're looking at weaknesses within our genetic variances. We all have them, unfortunately, brought down from our family. We can go blame mom and dad and say thanks a lot. But that's what this boils down to. Urine is great. I'd use that for mainly hormones, but it changes, just like blood work changes. Your DNA does not change. You do not have to retest the same SNPs, but we can add in more. So yes, you can retest for other SNPs, but we're not going to check the same ones over again. What it is what it is, essentially.
I just look at it, conceptually, it's kind of like the framework of the house, right? That's not going to change. I mean, there's certain things like the blood works, maybe the decorations that kind of get moved around and whatnot, but the foundational structure is what it is, and that's what, makes us who we are. So I like that aspect. Now, we call this nutrition, right? It's nutrition based on you or ourselves, right? So we call it Utrition, which I think is super fun and catchy. But, what kind of benefits could we see from the nutrition, and how long does it take for it to take effect?
That's an awesome question. I love that. So yes, the pre-trition, of course, I believe it comes, I could be wrong, in a 60-day supply, which I always tell people, go ahead and finish that up. It's not going to harm you by any means, but don't start your Utrition until you finish your pre-trition. So once you start, you're already going to feel really good from the pre-trition. Once you start your Utrition, most people, I've had patients come to me and say, oh my gosh, I noticed it immediately. I felt great. And then a week later, I'm good, but I don't feel this big, huge rush. And well, that's because your body is saying, oh, okay. At first it's like, woohoo, it's a party. It's excited. It's getting exactly what it needs. And then after a while, the biochemistry of the body starts to work, and you might not feel that big punch, but you notice, you know what, it's 4 o'clock. Normally I would be exhausted, and I'm doing really well. I feel good. I'm not tired. And you start to notice little symptoms, maybe achiness or joint pain and stiffness, or, I don't really have that many headaches anymore. So you start to notice those branch symptoms kind of trickle off as we're getting down into the root cause, which is awesome. So it depends. It varies on each case or each person, how soon they will feel something. It could be, you could take it in that day. You could be like, oh, wow, I feel this. I feel great. But it could be a week for somebody. I always tell people we want a good consistency of 3 months at least for us to say, okay, now how do you feel? So I tell everybody, give it 3 months. Of course, this is something, and I know this was another question, so I'm going to segue right into it. This is something you can take for the rest of your life, just because this is your genes and they don't change. All you're doing is supporting those variances and those weaknesses, and filling in those cracks, which unfortunately we all have. And this is something you take for the rest of your life. So yes, you'll get to a point where you feel it, you feel really good, and then you might notice, I don't feel that big punch anymore, and that's okay. What we want to make sure is that your energy's up, you're sleeping good, and then you start to notice those little branch symptoms kind of dissipate.
I like that. I mean, in regards to talking about the ingredients, and maybe we can focus on that for a minute. What kind of ingredients, how did you pick these ingredients? Why are we utilizing these ingredients for these specific SNPs? And where are they from? Are US based? Are they out of country? Those types of things. Maybe focus on the ingredients that we're utilizing for the SNPs that we're, addressing.
So all of these, the ingredients are plant-based, so I also, I formulate. I've been a formulator for a couple different big international companies for a while. So I'm very familiar with formulations and how we have to do things and why we have to do things. This is a vegan, vegetarian, it's kosher, it's gluten-free. To be organic is tough. They are non-GMO, of course, but to be 100% organic with 100% of the product, it's either A, going to cost us a fortune and you're going to pay $1 million a month for these supplements, or B, they're hard to come by. That doesn't make it any less of a quality. It doesn't make it anything less than what your body needs or what you should get. Honestly, in my practice, what I use is not organic, actually. So I use good, clean products like this, but it's tough to get organic. So what we're looking for when we're looking at these is what the research says that has helped, and also with my clinical experience as well, what I've seen that's helped patients based on their genetic variances. So for example, let's just go with, I'm going to pull one of these SNPs up real quick for you guys so I can give you an example. Try to find one of my favorites that I like to talk about. SOD2, that's a good one. SOD2 is a free radical defense, it kind of increases or decreases free radicals and oxidative stress, decreases inflammation, works on the immune system, right? So when we looked at this gene, we say, okay, what do clinical studies say that will help support this gene and this weakness? So we start looking at high antioxidant foods. And what we're looking at, when I say we're looking at the research, we're looking at the pathway. So this is this is definitely science. This isn't just say, oh, some people said that this works, it was a clinical trial, so we're going to use it. Let's look at the biochemical pathway of this gene and different things that can come in and help and support it. So high antioxidants, of course, because we want to support antioxidant use and free radicals, I'm sorry. So we use spirulina, which is a high antioxidant and has been proven to help with the SOD2 gene. Blueberry extract, we all know blueberries are super, super great antioxidants. So we use that in this product to help boost the antioxidant effect and reverse this gene. B3, niacin, has also been, is a coenzyme that actually helps support the proper functioning of this SOD2 gene. So we're actually looking at metabolic pathways and nutritional pathways as well as the research to see what's most effective for each SNP.
Got it. In regards to the ingredients and putting in well, I think you kind of already answered this, but how much per SNP or like the variation, right? I mean,
yes.
how would you know how much to put in for what And would that be applicable to the, I don't know if it's the right time to communicate about this, but I think the technology that's been introduced with the nutritionator, we call it the nutritionator. This thing is phenomenal. Saw, you know, at the location we went out in Dallas and got a tour of the facility and things of that nature, just blown away. To be able to take, you know, a little bit here and there, put all, you know, to do it manually, you know, a little bit of this and just do it, you know, little by little. I mean, how long would that take? And that's not scalable. You can't get that to the world forever, right? I mean, so maybe tell us a little bit about the nutritionator, about the technology that's there, and then maybe how that can facilitate, you know, the amounts that we need for each SNP.
Yes. So I do this personally by hand, of course, in my practice. And all right, so let's start with the SNP. So if you have a green, right? A green is what I call wild type, which sounds like it should be abnormal, but that's completely normal. So green is good. So when you see green by a SNP, that means you do not have this genetic variant whatsoever. When you see yellow, that's what we call heterozygous, meaning one copy from one parent. So this, it needs a dosage of something, but not as much as when you get to, let's say, the red, right? So I'll give an example. So red is homozygous, meaning a copy from each parent. So that's two copies of this SNP. So you need more of that nutritional supplement to be able to kind of fill in the cracks where your weakness is. So let's say ubiquinol, CoQ10, which is ubiquinol is the active form of CoQ10, right? So if you're heterozygous, let's say, you need 100 milligrams. I'm throwing this out. We actually do it a little bit differently, but let's just say 100 milligrams. But if you're homozygous or red, you need 200 milligrams. So we've actually got the software and the system and this nutritionator program to know, okay, heterozygous, homozygous, this much, that much. So it can actually put exactly what you need in there down to the microgram, where by hand there can be a lot of possibility for flaws and stuff as well, or you know, miscalculations. This machine is very fine calculated, so it puts exactly how much you need based off your DNA, not somebody else's, of course. And everybody gets something different. And I saw one of the questions here was, why are there still 10 pills? Well, we do a base. Every supplement, it doesn't matter who I formulated for, you have to have a base. We do not use fillers. So what we do is we use vitamins and minerals and things as well that just help support, like zinc, help support and help guide different nutrients into the cells. You know, so there's antioxidants that actually help, enzymes, which actually help us absorb things a little bit better, prebiotics, which help us, like I said, with probiotics, set the stage for these certain vitamins and minerals. So we're using that as a base. What, yes, you might not get as much a specific type of vitamin, mineral, or plant-based product as the next person, but you're still going to have to take those 10 pills. We're still going to use that base in there, and that actually helps so it doesn't clump or anything like that as well. We want a smooth product that actually makes it really highly bioavailable, and that's what this does. So this machine's pretty incredible. Like Kyle said, I saw it when I was in Dallas as well. I've heard so many things about it. I've read about it. So when I got to see it, it was neat to see that. He has 2 currently. I believe he's getting 1 to 2 more, which is amazing. And it's programmed with software to know exactly what to read and what to put in there based off the different SNPs.
Now, whatever. Now, we can get the, as customers, as consumers, we can actually get either in capsule form or powder form right now. My understanding is there's no fillers, binders, or additives. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's why we use a base, as I was saying, with the vitamins, minerals, and different things to help guide and support these into the cells. But also, if you do get the powder, it can clump, unfortunately. And here's my recommendation, and just as a recommendation for everybody, just because I like to be honest and upfront and say, here's what I would do. If you're not going to put that powder into a smoothie, don't do the powder. It's just, I don't know. Powders are really tough for compliance with patients. I've noticed that they use it, and after a while, it's like, there's just something about it. Where pills are like, yeah, sure, I'll throw back a couple pills a day. That's fine. But the powder, if you're a smoothie maker and you like your protein shakes or your smoothies, great, use the powder. If not, I'd go with the capsules.
Good idea. Now, what are the capsules made of?
So they're veggie caps. So it's because it has to be vegan. So even when I formulate for this vegan company that I actually work with, we use what we just call veggie caps or veggie glycerin, and it's just a different form that's a little bit easier to digest on the body, and there's no toxins or fillers or chemicals or anything like that in these. It's just a veggie cap.
Got it. No, this is a question that came up not too long ago, and just curious, you know a lot more than I do about this, but is the final designed product excipient free? And maybe explain what that is. And do you use flow agents?
No. And I actually, that first question, I don't know the answer to, actually. I'd have to look into that and see if it is or not. I told you before, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, unfortunately, but that one I'll have to get back to you on. I don't know the answer to that one. I'm sorry.
Perfect. Now, if they're all mixed in one big batch, then how do we know we're getting the same amount of the daily amount for each pill?
Because it's so precise. So it's extremely precise in knowing exactly how much to put into each capsule. So you're getting exactly the same amount into each capsule, and then it's put into your container, I guess it is. So it's so neat to see. And if you do the powder, it's just straight powder right in there. But it's neat to watch this because it is so very precise. There was a company that used to do all this by hand. And actually it would take them, oh my goodness, I forget the amount of time it would take them. They could only do like so many hundred per month, where with this machine, we're able to spit out thousands, of course, per month, because it is so much faster and so much more precise. So as long as calibrations, and that's where HIPAA and CLIA, I asked about that, come in, we make sure that we are HIPAA and CLIA compliant, of course. They've come in, they've checked the machine, they understand that it's precise, it's calibrated. There are rules and laws and things that we have to follow and that have to be done within the laboratory, of course. So all that is kept up on to make sure that you guys are getting exactly what you need every single time, and it's exactly the same.
Well, now that you're on the subject, might as well just dive into it. HIPAA and CLIA, what are those, I believe the government agencies and regulated things. So, you can't just throw anything out there to the world, but what are those agencies and what do they do and how is it that we're compliant with those? And we'll start there.
Yep. So HIPAA is a Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which I'm surprised I remember that. But what it is, it's protection for you guys. Any type of medical tests or anything that's done, we want to make sure that your information is protected. We're not selling it to other, a third party companies. If we protect you. So it is a protection agency for the consumers with different types of medical testing and things like that. So we want to make sure we're HIPAA compliant. They come in and they're pretty hardcore. So for us to be able to say that we're HIPAA compliant and CLIA is a big deal, and it's actually a really neat thing. So it's protecting you guys and protecting your information. CLIA is a little bit different. That's mainly about the clinical laboratory improvement amendments, I believe it is. And it's more of regulating the lab, making sure that the process is sterile if it needs to be sterile. If it's not sterile, if it's handled, everything is handled properly and you're getting exactly what you're supposed to get. They stop in, they'll pop in whenever they want and make sure that everything is being followed the way that it is, that everything we're saying we're doing and everything that we're saying you're getting is 100% accurate.
Nice. I love that. And I think it's a safety factor that I'm giving my DNA, that's protected. It's not going to be sold anywhere else. It's not going anywhere else. I mean, so that gives the security to knowing that we have our information protected. That's awesome. Now, I'll ask this because it was given as a question. I've never heard this, but I think it's an interesting question. It's like, when do I stop taking it?
You don't. You can take this forever, right?
I say you stop taking it when you want to stop being healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You stop taking it when you're like, okay, I think I'm good. So this is what I tell my patients. There are my patients are sick. The people I get are pretty sick. They're coming to me because they've been everywhere else under the sun, and they're okay. You fix me. So no pressure, of course. But these people are coming to me and saying, all right, I need help, and I have to go in and be very targeted, and I'm doing certain things for a certain amount of times, but we have our essentials, the things that your necessities, the things you just have to take because your body is weak and being able to break it down, absorb it, and use it. That's why we're looking at just 18 right now, and we'll expand on that, but we're trying to hit those heavy hitters within nutritional pathways. So yeah, you can take this stuff forever. It's a nutrition. It's the nutrition that your body is screaming for, right? And we're able to now look at that. And like I said, this has been something I've been doing for the past 5 years. It's incredible. And now that they have this, it makes it just more available to everybody else and not just the people that come sick. And I know, Kyle, you said something about protecting our DNA. There's a lot of companies out there, guys, and 23andMe, whoops, maybe I said that, maybe I didn't, but they actually were started by a co-founder of Google, and your information is owned by Google. So that's a terrifying situation. When I have patients come, well, Google, 23andMe is $50, and I'm like, well, is $50 worth your information and your DNA, which is the most private thing that you actually have, going anywhere and everywhere for research or whatever it is that they need? I don't think so. So we actually don't share your information, and that's I think that's value in itself for me.
Yeah, they're making a fortune off, $50, but they're gonna make a boatload off of your information, So it's a financial game on that side. But so in regards to the DNA and the test, I know people have asked, does it show disease? How about pre-existing conditions, things of that nature, or issues like diabetes, cancer, heart attack, or heart disease? Do those show up on the test, or how does that work?
It doesn't show up if you have this active, like, okay, let's just use Parkinson's. Okay, I really love neurological diseases. I know that sounds terrible, but I love dealing with them because, man, we can make them better. Let's say Parkinson's, right? So it does not come back to tell you that you're predisposed for Parkinson's. No, what it does is it says, okay, this SNP could influence, dementia, Parkinson's, gastrointestinal things, possible type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular, but it does not name the disease. No, and that's what I was saying earlier. I know what the disease is, and I don't even share that with my patients. That's a heavy information load to put on them. So it doesn't name particular disease. You can, of course, everybody can Google SNPs, and you can see what they're associated with. But we're not going after disease patterns here. We're just looking at nutritional supplementation and being able to provide the body what it needs where it's weak and not able to do what it's supposed to do. So no, not really disease pattern. And it doesn't really say or anything that you maybe have had before. No, not really. Just because that's where it starts to get nitty gritty. That's where you need a physician to actually go read, go with and say, okay, here's what I see, and here's what could happen. This is just getting the ultimate multivitamin for you and protecting you from things that could happen. Yes, absolutely. There is great benefit to this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so there's zero claims. Not like we're curing anything. What we're doing is we're giving the overall necessary raw materials so our body can operate at its best, right? So
Correct. I won't even tell people that I can cure them of anything. You start saying that, you start getting into some trouble for one.
Yeah, zero claims
for
here.
another, am I going to fix it? Of course I'm going to work on it. We're going to fix it. We're going to support it. But we're not looking at disease pattern here. We're looking at nutritional weaknesses, and we're trying to give, as you said, your body the exact material that it needs to perform at the exact level that you need to perform at. We are capable of a lot. And because of, predispositions, this sad American, standard American diet, stress, life in general, as it does this is just supposed to help you keep through here. We can't take away those outside factors, cofactors, unfortunately, but at least if we can keep your body running the way that you're supposed to, you'll be amazed once you're there. And it's, think, wow, okay, I don't remember what it feels like to feel the way I felt before, but I don't ever want to go there again.
Right. No, I like that. Now, I know a lot of people right now are taking supplements. They're doing their best to take care of their bodies and things of that nature. So they give up their supplements that they currently use now, or can they taper that off? Like, what are your thoughts on that side?
So so that depends, right? So this is, what we're trying to do is nail what your body needs nutritionally. So if you're taking, okay, let's just say you're taking a vitamin D supplement. I'm taking my vitamin D, and I take my omegas, and I take my pre-probiotics, right? Some of the staples that we need all the time. That's all going to be included in here for one. Part of it is a base, and the other thing will be as if your body needs it. So here's what I tell patients. There is a SNP. In fact, we test for it. It's the FUT2 gene, where it shows a little bit about microbiome, if you can maintain proper microgut biome or not. So if it comes back negative on people, unless they have a yucky diet, which is some people do, or they've been on heavy dose of probiotics, I tell them, or antibiotics, excuse me, I tell them you don't need probiotics really. But if you come back heterozygous, then yeah, you do need a little bit. If you come back homozygous, you need more. So this will actually save people money in the sense of some people are taking things that they don't even really have to necessarily take, or they're taking the wrong form of it, or they're taking the wrong dose of it. So this just kind of hones that in. So anything extra that you take, if your doctor says, hey, I want you to take this or that because of something I've seen on your labs, I would show him what you're taking in your nutrition and say, here's what I'm already taking. Do I really need to add to this or not? But majority of the time, that was just a long-winded way of me saying you can stop pretty much all of your other supplements. Yeah.
Got it. Now can you take too much supplements? I know that one of the guys that was recommended by a doctor to take XYZ, honestly was blind because he didn't know, what was here, right? Didn't test for DNA or anything of that nature, and he recommended he took that, and he took too much of it, and there was a buildup. I don't know if it was lactic acid or something of that nature. It was more detrimental, even though overall it was good for people, but it was actually hurtful for him because they didn't know what his body really needed based on results of the testing. So can you take too much of something?
You can, absolutely, yep. Absolutely you can. So you can take, especially like B vitamins and such, they used to say, oh, you can't over methylate somebody, meaning taking too many of the B vitamins. We found out actually that you can. So that's why this is so nice, because it's precision. It's precision therapeutics is what I call it. So it's actually taking exactly what you need and giving you that exact dosage instead of, I've seen people, and that used to be me, unfortunately, is, oh, you need some omegas. Take 4 of them a day. Studies have shown, well, not everybody is the same in these studies. So studies sometimes aren't really relevant in clinical practice, unfortunately. But yeah, you can take too much of something and it can make you not feel good. It can make you feel worse, or it can make you feel sick. And this takes that away. You don't have to worry anymore about how much of something do you take or what form of it. It tells you because it's looking at your body through your DNA. It just doesn't, it's such a neat thing. And I love it. And I've been loving this and doing this for a while. So I get a little worked up, a little passionate about it. So sorry.
No worries. No, you can get excited all day long. I mean, I'm excited that you're here, that you have the information, because all of these things people really want to know because they like the idea, but they're like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it's a brilliant concept we have. And some of these simple questions that most people, it's not simple for you, it's absolutely simple because this is what you do and you get excited about it. But knowing that most supplements that people consume only absorb a small percentage. I know, like not even 10%. We excrete the rest. So what's the absorption rate here? And is that different than what we would with other supplements? And what makes that different than that?
Absolutely. So you're taking the right form of what your body needs. And that's what makes this different. These are highly bioavailable for one. So we're not, when you take a specific supplement, a lot of times your body, let's just say, okay, let's give an example, B12. B12 is one of my favorites. I'm doing B12, I'm doing B12 shots. Okay, well, what form of B12 are you taking? What do you mean? There's more than one form? Yeah, there actually is. Cyanocobalamin, hydroxyl, methylcobalamin, what are you taking? So we're actually looking at the genes and saying, okay, what type of this supplement do you need? What form of it? And we're giving the active form, so that way your body doesn't have to worry about trying to convert it and absorb it and use it. So you're getting the most highly bioavailable form that your body needs to be able to break it down and get into the cells so it can be used by the body. So So it's 100, I mean, it's just completely absorbable, and it's getting into the cells at such a higher rate than trying to take something off the counter and not understanding what you're taking and what form you're taking it and how much you're taking it. And then there's, is it a clean product? Is it something that could have a possible allergen to you? Or an intolerance that could affect you in a negative way. So yes, it's a lot more highly bioavailable because it's what your body's asking for. And we're skipping the process of trying to figure out how to break it down and get it into the cell.
Awesome. Now, you may or may not know this question. It may be just a legality thing in regards to New York. I know in New York, you can't do the swab thing for whatever reason. Do you know anything about that?
I reached out on that one because that's again the business side of it, and that's I'm like, nope, don't want to deal anything with the business side. From what my understanding is, and it's a very broad, and I apologize that it's not as honed in, and I think Ron might be able to answer this for us a little bit better. It is a tough state. They have a lot of rules and regulations and laws in New York that doesn't allow us. I don't know how or why or the legality behind it, but they do not want any type of genetic DNA swab that can be reached consumer based. I don't know if they allow practitioners to do it. I would assume so, but that I don't know. But it's all boils down to the laws and rules and regulations of the state, the particular state of New York.
Yeah, New York's a tough one. I had to deal with it in other business models, and yeah, they're kind of tough. So get that. So there's a couple of questions here on the chat, so I just kind of want to address those real quick before we have you sign off here. So one of the questions was from Daryl, is how as we add additional SNPs, do we retest and reformulate the product? Is that correct, or how does that work?
So as we're adding new SNPs, right, so the hope is, and we're still in the early stages of discussing this and figuring this out, all of your, obviously we have your material, your DNA, we have your testing everything right there. We're actually able to test for over 700 SNPs right now, currently. So as we're adding new ones in, I don't feel that we're going to have to re-swab or have you guys do anything different. But that's kind of to be determined. I know in what I do, it's all kept. So if I want to add a new SNP or add a panel, I can just go right in and do that. And I believe this is going to be the same way. As for adding new SNPs, are we going to do different formulations? Yeah, we'll probably have to reformulate things in the next month when your subscription comes in. It'll just be different. And we'll explain how and why. The whole part of that, like I said, is still in its infancy. We're still trying to make sure that we nail that and we get that down pat. I would love to see this thing expand into what I vision it to be. And I think we'll get there, but we'll have to go through the different steps of how it's going to work. So I don't have all the answers for that now. We should not have to retest or re-swab you. But yes, your formulating your obviously change if we're adding in new SNPs.
Got it. Now, in regards to like medication, let's just say somebody's on a specific medication that they're taking for the doctor, whatever it may be. Would that affect their formulation or their product is being produced? It says if they have or told to say, let's say iron, does it affect the original formula or not?
So I always say to if I was talking to my patient, I could answer that a little bit better. But when it comes to this, I always say bring it up with your physician. Show them what it is that you're going to be taking, and hopefully they are okay with the fact that they have to look at this list of different nutritional supplements to see if what you're taking is going to have any contraindications or anything like that. We always say to contact your physician just to make sure that everything that you're taking with this, it's all plant-based vitamins and minerals, right? And it's all stuff your body's asking for. But there are different medications that come in and kind of play with your biochemistry as it is. I'm not a medication person. I don't prescribe it. I don't like them. So for me, there's no contraindication that I see, but a lot of people are on different medications, and I would absolutely go to your physician or your doctor and ask them and make sure that this is going to work with what you're currently taking. So I never just say, oh, you're going to be fine by any means. I say contact your physician for sure.
Got it. Now, there was one, we'll probably end with this one in case somebody else has some other questions. We can go around the room here. But in regards to the 35-page report that we received, maybe you just expand upon that a little bit, you know, what's addressed. I could probably even share my screen and show a little bit of mine. I don't know if I want to show people that or not, but should I?
You don't want to give them all of your personal information?
Yeah, but maybe just expand upon that a little bit about, you know, the 35-page report, you know, what it consists of and what's in there. That'd be great.
Yep. So it's a great report. It's our wellness action plan. That's always going to be forever, you know, changing. We'll be adding things to it as well, which you all will get once we start to add to it. But what it pretty much does is it gives a nice little kind of facts and background information on making sure that you know that your genetic information is confidential. How long have we been doing, you know, the science? It's been around since 1994. What is a SNP? Which genes are tested? You know, they go into that kind of thing, and then they go into the SNPs and the single nuclear polymorphism. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? Can your genes change? Kind of a lot of the questions that we have answered here. And then you get this nice report. It says each SNP, it kind of gives you a common gene name. It doesn't give you the disease name, but like what it does is like the APOB, a healthy lipid support gene, right? So healthy cholesterol, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, total cholesterol. And then it says how many SNPs, or the number of SNPs, meaning green meaning 0, yellow meaning 1, and red meaning 2. And then it kind of goes down a little bit and it breaks them down, which is the nice part. So it says, okay, you have this SNP. Here's what it means. Here's the SNP. What is the purpose of this gene? Why is this gene important? And what is in my formula because of this gene? And it breaks down and it actually shows the different, we kept the research there, so you can always refer to that. You know, the clinical trials that reported that this and we have everything listed. So then it breaks down each individual SNP, which is kind of nice. And it also tells you about the ingredients and you know, vegetarian, vegan, kosher, why, what does it mean? So it has a really good breakdown without giving too much of the science away, but enough for people to understand it.
Awesome. The now there's a question. I don't know if there's a question, the answer to this one, but how many SNPs can be resolved by nutrition and this products? I don't know if SNPs they're not a negative thing. They're not a bad thing, right? There's just, I don't know if resolution or resolving is the right question for that.
Let me think how to understand that question, or the what that question means. So
I think the person asking it doesn't really understand what a SNP is. SNPs aren't a bad thing.
Right.
You know.
Right. No, it's not. I mean, it happens in all of us, you know, and they're just different variants that we get that we've inherited from our parents, as we've talked about before. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's SNPs that give us different eye color and hair color. Now I dye my hair, so that doesn't count today. But so that way we can have those that's amongst the majority of the population. But then there's these little SNPs that make us different, right? And different on the inside and how we process chemically. And that's what we're looking at, is where these SNPs are that could possibly affect the biochemistry of our body and how we absorb and use things to give us the energy to do what we need to do on a daily basis. You figure everything starts with energy. And that's what this is looking at, is where these nutritional pathways come into effect to help us with the energy and to help us do what we need to do. And actually we can perform at like I said, a much higher level once we know what's going on with our genes and we know our weaknesses. It's not a bad weakness by any means. We all have them. We just need to know what they are.
Now, when you get the product, we'll have a breakdown of exactly the amount of each product or thing that's in the actual product itself. So you can actually show the doctor and say, we have this amount of dosage of this type of plant-based product in there. Will that come with the nutrition when it comes?
That's a good question that I'm not 100% the answer on. I know it breaks down exactly what's in it, and it usually tells, like I'm looking at one now, the ATP5C1 gene, one of my other favorite genes because it talks about mitochondria, and man, I love mitochondria. And it actually tells you if it's green, you're still going to get a little bit. If it's red, you're going to get this much. And if it's yellow, you're going to get this much, kind of thing. So it does tell you a breakdown of what it could be. Absolutely. I don't know if on the bottle it says it or not. I don't think so. It does list the ingredients, but I don't know if it breaks it down to the microgram or not.
Well, wonderful. I'm going to actually just open up here to this room. Those are all good questions that we had from people that were on the webinar here. And but do you guys have any other questions or things? Yeah.
So since the supplements are plant-based, can there be any allergic reactions, say for people with allergies, or is that not a problem because it's based on the DNA?
Can you hear that?
Right. So no, that's a really good question. So we don't see a lot of, can it happen? Of course it can. It's that 1% that is allergic to everything and can't take hardly anything, that we see it in. Even stuff that I give, I see it every once in a while, and I got to back off and strengthen the immune system a little bit and calm that down. But we haven't seen in the hundreds of clinical trials we've done and the patients that have taken it, I think there's been 2 that have had a slight reaction to something in it, and it was just they just were like, that doesn't make me feel any better. It's not like it was anaphylactic shock or hives or anything like that. So no, we're actually eliminating the possibility because they're not synthetic, because they are more of a plant-based product, and because we are looking at your genes, so we're able to decipher what your body actually needs versus what it doesn't. But no, that's a good question because that can come up.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Got a question.
Yep.
Is it going to make Kyle grow his hair back? Because if that's the case, I'll buy it. Sign me up.
You never know, it might. Just
So, sorry.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, seriously.
You talked about the importance of clinical research and scientific supporting data and some of the trials that have been done. So can you shed a little light on, some of that data that's out there, and what's like the clinical efficacy that's that you guys are talking about, and then how is that measured once the person starts taking it? I mean, is it like, I used to be anemic and now I'm not, or I used to get migraines and now I don't, or my hair grows back, or in these clinical trials, have there been endpoints?
So this is going to be pretty much symptomatic. If it was my office, I'd be looking at blood work. I'd be checking things to see, and that's something you want to bring up with your physician as well. Is okay, can I look at my blood work now? I've been taking this stuff for 3 months. I want to see if I have any changes in how my body's functioning. In my office, absolutely, I'm checking blood work, and that's a good marker for me. And also what the patient tells me, that's huge. People don't listen to their patients anymore. But if a patient comes in and says, man, I'm feeling great, all this is happening, that's happening, but I still have this going on, then I'm digging a little deeper. So with the company itself, no, because it's like a multivitamin, and then you buy a multivitamin from any other company. Now we're definitely more detailed, which is great, but they're not going to be checking up to see how things are going. There is clinical data that's out there already, and I'm sure they're going to release that they've been doing over the past 10+ years on this product. But as of being able to decipher whether it's working or not from a Uforia Science position, probably not. That's something that I would say definitely get some blood work done pre and post. Try it yourself. I would love the feedback is of, hey, actually this was going on 3 months later, we rechecked it, and now these things are changing or whatnot, and it would be good to hear that as well. But in my office, I'm doing it, but we're not really doing that here. No, just because we're not trying to work on disease or cure anything. We're just trying to give you the best possible vitamins and minerals and supplements for your body.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Please, can you hear me?
I can.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, thank you. First of all, hey, you guys are totally awesome. I'm just in awe of the group that's sitting around viewing this. You guys have given me a great idea to jumpstart my own business. So thank you for taking the time asking questions. Please forgive me. I look a hot mess. I just actually got out of the hospital today. Had a minor procedure done. But I have a quick question. So I had a heart attack last year. And of course, they have you on blood thinners for a while, high blood pressure meds, and so forth and so forth. Once these products get into our systems and our meridian system starts to line up, is it true that I have to stay on these meds for the rest of my life, or once my body lines up, could I come off of them?
Oh, if I was your physician, I would tell you something totally awesome. So I have to tread lightly. The physician in me comes out, but then the scientist in me says, shh.
I can understand. We're all grown in this room.
I mean, obviously what we're trying to do is just give you the best, like I keep saying, vitamins and minerals and supplementation for your body to work at the optimal level. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's a possibility that if you work with your physician and start checking your levels and making sure he's monitoring your blood pressure and monitoring different things, and he starts to notice stuff, then I would say, hey, do you think I can start to come down off these things and give my body a shot and see how I do without it? But of course, we're not going to recommend, oh yeah, you're going to be great, stop all your medications, and this is going to fix everything. I don't want people to get that ideal or that false image of what we're trying to do here. It's just working on nutritional pathways and making sure that your body's strong to be able to do what it needs to do. And if that hopefully means that you can start decreasing some medication you're taking, working with your physician on that is going to be vital. But that's of course everybody's hope. But I would absolutely make sure you work with your physician on that. Don't stop any medication on your own.
Well, God bless you. Thank you for the answer. You guys have a wonderful evening.
We'll get better. I'm sorry to hear that you just came out of the hospital. So hopefully you feel better.
Well, thank you. I'm getting there. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for your question. Great question, by the way. Real quick in regards to weight, because I know that we're affecting our bodies by getting the right things in our bodies according to what our SNPs look like and are indicative of that. But will it potentially help lose weight even? That's one of the questions ahead.
So we're looking at some cool genes. One of them has to do with your BMI and has to do with the possibility of not being able to lose weight as efficiently. There's other cofactors always. Is there a hormonal imbalance? Is it your diet? Is it, of course, there's going to be outside cofactors that we aren't looking at or can't address. Yes, it's absolutely, it's not a weight loss supplement by any means. But if we're able to kind of fix these genes that maybe don't come in and break down fats as well, and stuff like that, then yeah, it should help as long as you're on having a good diet and you're eating well and you're exercising and all those other cofactors. Then absolutely. But this isn't a weight loss product per se, but we are looking at genes that would influence how we break things down. Yeah.
Perfect. Over to, yeah, there you go.
Apart from the custom-made supplements for your DNA, do you get nutritional advice on what kind of foods to eat with the package?
That's something that we're absolutely working on because that's huge, right? I mean, if people knowing what to eat is really important. So that's something.
So by the way, this is Bola, world famous bodybuilder. So we're very fortunate to have him here today. Very nutrition savvy. So it's a great question he had for us for sure.
Oh, I love that. And that's awesome. I actually just got back from the gym before I did this. So see, working out's great. I love it. So that's something absolutely. I mean, my goals are, my dreams are big just because I do this every day. I work with personal trainers that help my patients get the exact guidance of what they need based off their DNA. I have health coaches and life coaches that are helping me come in more and DNA and what they're weak in. So that's something I do and I love, and I would love to be able to introduce this. And we've talked about this. And I think we're going to start to see some things come out and be implemented, including nutritional cofactors and stuff as well. Absolutely. But right now it is so fresh and so young. The product itself and all of us coming together and we're all saying, we want this, we want to do that, we want to do this. We just have to streamline it and make it work. But yeah, that's something I think that needs to be a part of this. Absolutely. People don't know how to eat, unfortunately. And if we can tell them exactly how to eat based off their DNA, I mean, that's unstoppable in my opinion.
Yeah, the great part about this is, I mean, this is years in the making, tens of millions of dollars invested, the science behind it, all of these things. It's just a perfect storm of really getting a phenomenal product to market and helping people get access to it. So today we're just literally getting behind the science behind it. We're not talking about business, but there is a referral type program integrated also with the company. So if anybody want to learn about that, just get back with the person that invited you and they'll share that with you. There's a customer referral program as well as a business opportunity attached that people can actually benefit financially by sharing this with the world. But that being said, with me, one or two more questions that we can wrap things up for the evening.
All right. has there been specific, hello? Has there been specific clinical trials regarding neurological illnesses or medications people might have due to the fact that it's been mentioned that you feel a rush? Now, is that rush associated with serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine? So specifically someone who suffers or lives with a neurological disorder that they're taking antipsychotics, so to speak. How does that affect, and has there actually been clinical trials, considering I know it's a supplement, but being as someone who's lived with this my whole life, supplements actually do have a reaction at times. So that's my scientific question for you.
No, I love it. It's great. And that's a great question too. So it's sometimes hard for me. I have to step away from what I do, although I want to bring that to you guys. That's why I'm here. So looking in clinic wise, I'm able to kind of get more of a wrangle on that and look at the specific neurotransmitters and break it down and say, okay, this neurotransmitter works on norepinephrine and epinephrine. This one works on GABA and different things like that, and glutamate. As for this product, we're hoping the goal is to, obviously it's going to have a neurotransmitter influence. Yes, of course it is. And it's just, yes, it's just a supplement. No, there's no prescription or pharmaceutical type things in here. It's going to influence things. And the goal is to help, hopefully help your body, support your body in a way that, who knows, maybe you start to be able to talk to your physician about stopping or cutting these things down and seeing if your body can do what it's supposed to do without needing these things. We're obviously not treating depression, anxiety, you know, we can't say any of that, of course, ADD, ADHD, but I know the science behind these SNPs and I know what it's capable of. I put people on who are on SSRIs and different things, put them on different supplements to help with support their neurotransmitters every day. I haven't seen any negative effects. Does that mean that it can't happen? No, it means it still can happen, absolutely. But just be cautious when you're taking medications and you're getting on these things, and keep your physician, up to date. I'll be honest with you, the majority of them are gonna poo-poo this, and they're gonna, say, but there's some great ones out there who are really into this and understand this and know that there's a science behind it. We don't have any clinical trials, to answer your question. I'm sorry. You can tell me what time it is and I'm going to tell you how to build the watch. So I apologize that I kind of go on a little bit into it, but we don't have any current clinical trials that I'm aware of on the effects of Utrition with neurological diseases. No. I mean, I know what these SNPs are capable of. I know what they can do, and I know what I've seen in clinical practice. But as for clinical trials based off of neurotransmitters and different type of neurological diseases, not yet. But again, we scientists, I've been on board with this for over a year now, and I'm just kind of, we're formulating our science team. A lot of us docs have just met each other, a few months ago. So we're really starting to pull those types of things and hopefully have some better answers for you. But this is, we have to remember at the end of the day, it's still powerful, is how I like to look at it and tell people. We're not trying to target certain things, but hopefully we'll have some more information based on studies and on what it could influence versus what it could not. But we always suggest that you follow up with your physician, and just to make sure that there's no contraindication between anything that you're taking.
Perfect. Awesome. Anybody else before we close out? Way too many intelligent people on this call today. So,
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, this is wanted to get to the nitty gritty, some of the hard questions that some people have been asking since we've been open and launched here. We're actually having an event coming up on December 15th in Orange County. So anybody from LA, from IE, we got people actually flying from Utah, Florida, Northern California coming down. But the CEO will be there. Mr. John Malott will be actually coming from Arizona. It's going to be a phenomenal event that people can come and learn more about the science, the technology, and learn about how the business facet works as well. So again, you can actually get back with the person that invited you in regards to that. But what I would suggest is, get back with the person that brought you on here today, whether on the other side of the country, or you're in Canada, or you're here in Southern California. and get their link, or if they have what's called a Utrition or a pre-trition pack. It's a U-Start pack. That's a black one. It looks really cool. I probably have one here right in front of me. So it comes here with it's really cool branding. You can see that. And it has everything you need. It's got the swabs in there. It's got the pre-trition. It's got the explanation how to do that for you to go in. So again, if you have somebody's there with you, you can actually get it from them directly for the $159, and then you can actually go online, go to ustart.com. On the back of this, we'll have a code, and you put that code in there to ustart.com, and then you can order your DNA test from there. It's usually $200. We have inside here. There's a $100 discount, so it's only $100 for the test versus the traditional $200. So $159 plus the test. Again, this is overall health. This is actually us getting the things that our body needs so we can benefit on an optimal level. And so thank you so much for taking your time to be here. And I just encourage, actually I'm going to bring on one person just for 2 minutes just to say hello, give a little testimonial. This is a woman that I highly regard, somebody that I've learned a lot from as well. She's actually in a company that did something of this nature that had customized nutrition. So what I'm going to do is bring her on, Miss Tina. If you can bring yourself on here, we'd love to see you. Tina Malsom, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you so much. Can you see me okay?
Oh, yeah. You guys look great.
Hi, guys.
So that's the real deal right there. Look at that. That's just straight up.
I wish we could be there with you guys. We're here in Northern California, but we are coming on the 15th. So we look forward to hanging out with you.
Very good. Well, Tina, maybe share just a little bit about, your experience with customized nutrition, how people respond to it, the benefits that you've experienced, consuming things of this nature, and kind of where you see things going here in regards to helping people as a customer here with the product.
Yeah, so I actually, about 9 years ago, I found a company that was doing this similar DNA customized supplements. They were only testing for 12 genes. It's certainly been enhanced over the last few years. But I did the DNA test. I got my nutrition report. And what I found cool, I was adopted. So I'm one of those people that goes to the doctor and they go, what runs in your family? And I go, I don't know, could be anything. And then they test me twice as much as everybody else. And I actually, turns out I have very good genes, except for one area, which is blood pressure. And here I am 9 years later. I've never had high blood pressure. Based on my DNA, I probably should. But as far as feeling it, like we like to say, I don't necessarily feel it, but I don't eat a banana and expect to feel the potassium either, right? I don't eat an orange and then feel the vitamin C coursing through my body, but I do that because that's good for me. And I take this supplemental product because it's good for me, regardless of how I feel. Although in 9 years, I was with the company for about 6, and we did see people take the test, take the product, and they're like, oh, I don't feel much. And then they leave, and sure enough, a couple months later, they come right back. Because sometimes you don't know how great you feel until you don't feel great anymore. Right, Dr. Jen? We see that happen.
That's a good phrase.
We had a gentleman who was such a skeptic because this was before 23andMe. It was before Ancestry.com. DNA was not that common. I remember we had a gentleman who swabbed his dog and sent it into the lab just to test the company and see if it was legit. Of course, they did send it back and say, this is not human DNA. But I've had clients, I had customers on this product with me for 6 years. And when the company stopped making the product, they cried. In fact, my tax accountant, even 2.5 years later, still asks me every time I see him, when can I get my customized nutrition back? It's one of those common sense products that makes you realize that going to the GNC or the CVS Farms and picking off the shelf seems just ludicrous once you've had your DNA tested and you see your personalized nutrition.
Anything you want to add? By the way, this is Kelly Vincent, and a gentleman love working with. Honestly, just a leader of leaders and just loves everything about what we're doing here and leading from the front. So maybe one or two things from you. I would love to hear from you, and then we can close out with that.
Sure. Well, I'm opposite of Tina. I have 10 brothers and sisters. So, and I have 4 daughters who have 32 first cousins. So we have a whole family history there, you know, to go off of. But I think one of the questions I get, you know, regarding everything we're talking about is, when do I stop taking them? And my answer is, it's kind of like, when do you stop exercising and working out? You know, if you have 6-pack abs, you don't just decide to stop doing sit-ups because that'll turn into 1 ab. And, you know, that's the only way I can compare it.
Like, when do you stop showering, you know, when you want to be dirty, you know?
Right. You know, it's something that people already know. It's pretty common sense. I think what it gives is people a sense of security of knowing that, you know, they've covered this large base of things that, you know, some of them they've never even heard of. But to know that it's in your nutrition and that you could take it and it's done for you, it's got your name on it, it really gives you the confidence and security to, like, check off that one box of, got that taken care of, and move on to the next thing, which, you know, for most people would be exercising.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. I know this has been a little bit of a longer experience than normal. So when we do this again, it will not go this far, but we did have a very special guest speaker. We did want to attract some of the, or answer some of the questions that have been going on and address those. So we're going to actually utilize this as a tool and maybe get some of these as a FAQ for the company to utilize as well, so people can get these questions answered easily. But guys, we want to thank everybody for being here. Appreciate you for showing up and getting these questions answered. If you have any other questions about becoming a customer, just again, get back with the person that invited you, and we'll show you how you actually can get your Utrition set up today. So that being said, thanks again. Appreciate your patience for the technology. We're going to get this thing down, nailed here real quick, and make it a great night, make it a great week, and we'll see you on the 15th of December. Thanks, Doc.